So this is going to be Procrastinating versus Keezer. And I believe Procrastinating is Jaguar. I am waiting for confirmation from the Twitch chat, but I do believe that that is the case. Let's take a look. Keezer looks like he's going first and second land. I've never seen this map in my entire life. Eridani is the name of it. And it's a nice little swirly looking map with a little bit of water here and there, perfectly and beautifully mirrored. And there are some interesting things going on here. So each side has an expansion plateau. There are things that do need airdropped, and Procrastinating is definitely Jaguar. We've got 3 mass extractors available, and things can be edge built or dropped up on the mesa. This kind of reminds me of open palms to a certain degree. And then through the center, we've got some choke points, but they do allow for passage in several different directions. You're not going to be able to lock this down with any kind of point defense or stationary defenses. Then we've got a couple of pools, 1 on each side, and then 4 corners around the edge, or the 4 edges, not in the corners. Those all look deep enough to hide your ACU in, judging from the dark blue color. So you've got some places to hide if you desperately need to. The mexes are pretty well distributed, so map control is going to be important, and overall this is going to be an interesting one to watch, I do feel. So as far as expansion goes, this is a 10-kilometer map, it looks like, so you're probably going to want transports relatively early on. Keezer is abandoning that though and going for the ever-praised 5 land factory build. I don't know if he realizes that this is not a 5K. So this could be excruciating. Jaguar is going for second air, probably going to go for a bomber. If he doesn't go for first bomber, he definitely will pour out nothing but bombers once he sees what is on the other side of the map. Keezer powering through his next land factory, and I can't help but feel like he's going to stall hard because he is going to take some time to get these extra mass extractors in hand. Moving his ACU up, going to secure the 3 on the front line. He's got raids heading out around the edges. Those are going to be Mantis. That is going to be Mantis as well, so no hunters in the mix. He's going for a little bit more durability than anything else. Jaguar picking up his 2 front mexes and getting a point defense down. This is an eco build, not a spread build. This is a hardcore spread build. So we're about to find out which one wins on this map. Jaguar moving up through the center with his ACU as he builds a couple more land factories from the rear with a single engineer. He's getting power generators down as quickly as he can while building a T1 transport. That's going to give him a huge advantage that is not to be underestimated with spreading out over the map. He's also going to be able to drop every single plateau. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 mass extractors on the plateaus that he'll be able to lock down. So even if he loses a little bit of ground on the center of the map, he's gonna still come out ahead with this plan. So hopefully he can get a couple more engineers on board. He's got time to lollygag since his opponent pushed off air for so very long. We've got actually 5th air factory. The 5th land factory is going to be with an engineer after some of these other things were built. So Keezer adjusted his moves on the fly just a little bit once he saw how big the map was and how long things were taking. But we've already got Mantis almost into Jaguar's base from Keezer. Jaguar going to get that transport away, dropping a single engineer over here that's going to pick up 2 mass extractors and a pile of reclaim. And then he's moving to this side to grab the outer expansion with that Engie. There's Mantis moving up though, so this might not be successful. We'll have to see how well he maneuvers those engineers. Bomber going down. It was a valiant effort, but alas, it was not meant to be. And Keezer's going to move up with his ACU to lock down the pass and prevent any of these units from running by. There we go. Kill on that. And we are good. Jaguar slightly behind at 400 power, but he is ahead on mass at 27 per tick. That could change though, due to the amount of Mantis that are flowing around the edges of the map. Tham's encountering Mantis. They've got the intel advantage as well, so they should be able to eliminate the Mantis no problem whatsoever, especially when you throw in that Selen, which is worth about half of a lab. We've got a little engagement on the south side. That's not going to end so well for him. Procrastinating, running into more than he bargained for. Of course, you may have an equal number of tanks, but if you string your tanks into a clump of tanks of equal number, guess who's going to win? It's the person who can bring more damage to bear on the single target. Looks like units clumping up in the center here for Jaguar. He's queuing to the middle with almost all of his factories and then directing afterwards. That is a pickup for a drop. I'm not sure what it is, but Jaguar is moving around to get the other plateaus as well. So even if he doesn't maintain these, which it looks like he's planning to, he's getting mexes, radar, and a point defense online. He will get the reclaim and he will hold those for a little bit, and they should pay for themselves easily. Keyser moving his ACU up, chasing down a horde of tanks. I don't know if that's entirely wise, because if you get in too deep, you might just lose out. That is going to be a point defense getting shot down by a Mantis, which should get cleaned up by the T1 tanks moving in from the rear. That same T1 transport is still alive and is still picking things up. We've got 4 engineers on board that will probably be headed over here to pick up the outside expansion. Honestly, he could drop on this mass extractor and be able to build the extractor, a couple land factories, and then flow units down and into the back end of his opponent's base. We're at 33 mass per tick versus 31, 600 power on Jaguar's side, which is going to give him a pretty distinct advantage, but his income is going to disintegrate slightly as these Mantis tear into his base. Jaguar does appear to have air control though, so he does have that going for him. We've got 16 interceptors versus 3. So Jaguar has already strongly won the air game. Keyser is on 5,400 reclaim, Jaguar on 4,700, so a pretty distinct, if not unsurmountable lead in Keyser's favor. And Jaguar, of course, pulling in a few mass per tick extra than his opponent, so over time that is going to mitigate that disparity. Procrastinating, getting a mechs down and then land factories. As I was just saying, on the left-hand side, that's going to give him an awesome opportunity to hit Keyser from an area that he probably does not expect. Over on the right, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to secure those mass extractors, but since he got all of the others on the plateaus, doesn't matter, yo. He's got this thing covered. Keyser falling back now, and he's got T2 units on the front line. Maybe he's going to go for the same strategy that he did last game and try for the mass Rhino spam, rolling into Loyalist spam once you've already got the game clinched. But I think that Ilshivas might have something to say about that. Ilshivas overall, I feel like, are stronger than Rhinos, a bit more versatile. We do have a transport out for Keyser now, which is at desperately low HP, but it will get the engineer dropped off that will be able to build those mass extractors and whatnot. I find it quite odd that the players have claimed the expansions that are not facing their bases. Like, this is the exact opposite of what you would expect from a game like this, on a map like this. Procrastinating, gonna move up and get these Mantis under control. The Medusas as well. No, actually, that is a banger. That is going to take out the T1 bomber and live to fight another day. Did get a veterancy, will be able to regen, probably come back into the fight at full health in approximately 6 minutes, or whatever the regen time is on something with a single veterancy that went down to basically no HP. It's not much, is what I'm getting at. We got Rhinos all the way around. Jaguar moving into the water to stay safe. He might be picking up an upgrade, and we're about to find out. Yes, that is definitely deep enough. Maybe not to get out of range of a strap bomb. No, that's probably enough to get out of range of a strap bomb. But he is accessible by torps. So, T2 units moving up through the center are going to be a little difficult to stop. But Rhinos are going to be at a minor disadvantage due to the terrain, because they're rather low to the ground, and they fire in a straight line with their laser projectiles, and that lets them hit terrain quite often. We're going to have to see how they fare. Ilshava going down, factory going down, another Ilshava bites the dust. Da-da-da-da-da. As these units move in and take the expansion. So that's going to be a major victory for Keezer as far as map control goes. But if we take a look back at the base, I think that we'll find we've got a two T2 power generator, excuse me. With the dark blue, it is extremely difficult to see. Yeah, there's a T2 mass extractor on that side. Does Keezer have a T2 max? He does indeed. So Jaguar's mass advantage right now, 45 mass per tick, is largely due to the expansions that he has that are out of reach. He's also on 9,000 reclaim versus, for Keezer, 8,400. So a very slight indeed lead. Ilshivas are now starting to clump up. They're coming out in a great enough force that they should be able to deal with anything that Keezer is throwing at his front door. Will we see T2 mass extractor upgrades on some of the expansions? This is where it gets a little sketchy, because theoretically this is more protected from land units, but when you're talking about TAC missiles, you'd have to individually transport a T2 engineer to each of those expansions and build TMD in them for those T2 mexes to be safe. So I don't know if that's a smart thing. Rhinos pounding up the center. This could potentially be bad. We've got several Rhinos in the same place versus Ilshivas that are struggling to get clumped up, but thankfully the quantity of Ilshivas that are coming from the rear and the presence of a T2 gunship are going to ensure the victory of Jaguar's units as yet more T2 tanks move up from the back. Are we going to see a T3 shift? Not quite yet, but we are seeing Wagners, which means that things might turn a little dicey as these units come from unexpected directions. Got interceptors moving in to take out the T2 gunships, but I do believe that Jaguar will have enough to deny that air. The eco is getting closer. 41 per tick for Keezer, 43 per tick for Jaguar. The total number of units on the map definitely favors Keezer, but you've got to figure the transfer times. T1 bombers knocking out a couple more mass extractors, reducing Jaguar to 39 mass per tick, and Keezer sitting high at 41. Nope, 39, as a mass extractor somewhere dies in a fit of fury. That was probably the one, and this one is going to be next. As your units flow across the field, you have an advantage when you're coming from your home base at a much closer range, because your units are more easy to clump, whereas when they're all coming from way across the map, they tend to be more strung out and you can't reinforce as quickly, and also you can't change your unit mix as quickly, and that can all lead to bad things happening. Oh my goodness. There's actually T1 torpedo defense going down. I'm gonna try to force Jaguar out of the water, but that's a T2 upgrade on Jaguar, so he's going to be able to outspam anything that Keezer is doing in the water, although his HP is going down quite quickly. Yep, reclaiming all the engineers, and then he can just reclaim the torpedo defense, and all is well. He's going to dip down to about 6,800 HP, maybe down to the 5K range before he can get these done, but he will make it out alive. 4K, oh my. I might have overestimated his ability to reduce those. 2,700 HP. The T2 saved him, yo. But now he's got Wagners all over him. Can those hurt him faster? They can't. He's actually out regenning the Wagner torpedo damage. Hashtag buff Wagners. Okay, so he's not. Never mind. He's dipping down very, very slowly. But with the nano repair, boom, instant 80 regen plus 3,000 HP. And now he's free to sit here and reclaim the Wagners to his heart's content, and nothing can touch him now. This is going to be nasty to deal with, because that nano comm will be able to kill so many units. Keezer at 39 mass per tick still. Jaguar climbing again, 43 mass per tick, and still getting out to claim some of his expansions. More Wagners moving in, of course, but T1 torpedo launchers will come into play. And with that 80 regen, I don't think Wagners are going to be enough. However, this might cause a little bit of a different story to take place. We've got torpedo bombers On the other hand, T3 lands. Jaguar beat Keezer to the T3 land push, and that is going to put him in a bad spot. Keezer shouting out the GG. Too bad you finish it in time. He tried several different forms of sniping. None of them were successful, and all of the mass that he put into the snipages are going to lead to his demise. Torpedo bombers incoming, but there's 11,000 HP on the ACU. Maybe they should add a little more DPS to that. Talking about the Wagners, yes, I would totally agree. Keezer's gonna take the honorable way out, Control K, not waste anybody's time, and Jaguar is gonna get the win on that one. That was a weird match. A very weird match from start to finish. I think part of it might be people not having played on this map before. Because I think Keezer, if he had started with air and done things, I don't know, maybe that was intentional. I would like to know. Because if he intentionally went for that much of a land build, banking on the fact that he could recover air in time, that's actually a really cool strategy, because he was able to suppress Jaguar pretty heavily at the very earliest portions of the game. However, it's a very risky strategy because on a 10K map, by the time you get to your opponent's side, even if they build tanks 2 minutes later than you did, they'll have enough tanks to deny you. So, it could go either way. Well played though, well played. That is gonna wrap everything up for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like and share it with someone. If you want to support the channel, catch the streams, or join the Discord, check out the links in the description. Thank you all for being at least partially insane, and I will see you in the next one.